Greetings, my friends. Welcome to another Rebel Moon podcast. Hacking the future so you can gain the edge. Well, what have we here? Well, we have an example of the media catching up with us, stuff that we spoke about even last year. And again, everybody thinks this is a conspiracy theory, things like that. I just want to correct something first. When I put the image on Hancock, it was actually in the World of Lies podcast on the 19th, not 24 hours. Just thought I'd put that right. But with all this lockdown and hoo-ha, you kind of lose track of time, don't you? Anyways, I mentioned in that podcast about another guy that broke the rules besides Hancock, and that was Neil Ferguson. The lockdown king, they called him. He was another one who was allegedly dismissed from the government for breaking his own rules, and then he was snuck back in. And he is still in charge of these lockdowns. Now, there has been something leaked. I actually came into possession of 4 pages of this leaked memorandum yesterday. I've put the first one there, just below the podcast, so you can see it. Now, it's obvious that they are going to deny that this is a genuine leak, but we'll soon see. Now then, this is from Neil M. Ferguson, who again was fired, but Boris snuck him back in, just like he intends to do with Hancock. But like I said, Boris's time is near, so is the old damn Tory government. It's all going to come tumbling down. Now, this is a memorandum. It's to Dr. Frank Atherton, Dr. Michael McBride, Dr. Susan Mitchie. We've spoke about her as well recently. She's a very important figure in the Communist Party of Great Britain. All these are commies, by the way. You've got Dr. Gregor Smith, let's name and shame him. Dr. Richard Taylor, Sir Patrick Vallance, Dr. Jonathan Van Tam, and Chris Whitty, the little fish man who looks like one of them fishmen off the old Stingray puppet series back in the 60s. Anyway, this is dated on the 14th of June, right, which is, honestly. And the subject, listen to this, so all this stuff we've been telling you in advance is real. We don't fake stuff here, it's not worth it. And it's subject, next steps, permanent lockdown of the UK. Private and confidential. Yeah, you bet it is, mate. Anyways, he says with the impending decision, an announcement to be made later today by the Prime Minister in regards to the 4-week extension of a lockdown of the United Kingdom, we now have a relatively short window of opportunity with which to finalise our next steps of the process. There you go. Now, I did tell you the last one, so-called opening, would be extended because Boris Johnson has not told one single truth in all this time. So it's pretty easy to read. You don't have to be psychic to read these people. Just get what they say, twist it round, and the opposite, there lies the truth. So all this is planned like we said. And the good thing is they will deny this, but remember, in 3 weeks' time, the opening, they are going to have a really good, really hard time going to try and enforce that now, because I think this leak is getting everywhere. Anyway, he continues, he says, it remains crucial for everything to remain on track for us all to remember our common purpose behind this. What is the common purpose, guys? What is this common purpose? I'll tell you, it's communism. That's what it is. It's a new world friggin' order, and people have to wake up to this. Now, he says, it's been tough and will get tougher. Yeah, damn right it will, you little bastard. But provided that we stay united and that we manage to persuade the bulk of the country that we are doing this for good reasons, then we will be able to move on with part 2 of the plan. The plan in inverted commas. And then he goes on, In short, this will be moving towards a permanent lockdown of the country from Thursday, the 15th of July. Now, this is the one I told you that it's a load of bullshit. They're going to try and extend it, right? So they're real stuck between a rock and an hard place now. Because if this gets out more and more, which I believe it will, this country is going to blow up. We've already seen that Chris Whitty, the fishman, he's been on what was it, YouTube or something. Some kids harassing him, grabbing hold of him, and he was absolutely crapping himself. The other week we saw that BBC reporter getting mobbed by the thing, and he crapped himself and run back inside, run to the police. These people will not be able to walk down the streets anymore. I've said this many times. They think they're just going to swan about and, they're the new kings of the world and we all bow down. Yes sir, doff the frigging hat. It ain't gonna happen then. And these kids showed him that. These people are going to get beat up on the streets if they go anywhere near the public once this is out. Right? Unless they're in jail where they belong, including Boris. And I won't be surprised if that's where Hancock's going. That's why he's resigned, because he's guilty of perjury, this fella. Now listen to this. Now I've told you all this is on the back of every flu, because all the flu seasons magically disappeared. Magic, right? So anyway, let's go back to this. In short, this will be moving towards a permanent lockdown. Remember those words, what I keep saying. Permanent, forever, the forever lockdown. We did a podcast on this last year when all this started. When I knew they were just going to keep extending. I know some people believe the bullshit, but people like us here, we don't buy it, do we? Now then, now listen to this. This is the excuse, because I've gone on about variants. This Nepal variant and the Indian variant, which is now called the Delta variant. All this is to confuse people. So, it says permanent lockdown the country from Thursday the 15th of July. Okay, guys. 15, that's, just over 2 weeks away, isn't it? With the reasons for doing so being a spike in the new Indian and Nepal variants of the virus. And then in brackets, listen to this. This is a killer. Which, as we know, is just a rebranding of hay fever. Just like I said to you weeks ago. That's what they're doing. They're jumping on the normal flu seasons. They haven't disappeared, but they're saying, it's this virus, and people are rolling their sleeves up. Oh, please, jab me, get that crap into my body. Absolute ridiculous. And then he goes on. The virus has already been very profitable and fruitful for us. Told you, they're all on backhanders, these people. So it's in their interest to keep this going forever, because the more vaccines, the more commission they're going to earn from Big Pharma. These people need jailing, they need investigating, and we need to find out their offshore bank accounts and then send them to jail for a very, very long time. But again, this is a kind of genocide that they're doing. So, let's bring the damn death penalty back. And teach these career politicians, you screw up and you will be held accountable. End of story. No more about this one law for us and one law for you. We're going to give you our law, the law of the damn land, the people's law. Stuff you and your bent judges, mate. Anyway, next paragraph. The virus has already been profitable and fruitful. And there's no limit, listen to this, there's no limit which we cannot further profit in both financial and reputational terms. Still, we must ensure that we have complete and utter cooperation from both the government and the media. Don't forget, these are not elected people, these scientists. They work for Gates and all them lot. That's who they are, the traitors. So, you need to cooperate from the government and media. Well, they've got that. They've been lying to us. We all know that now. And he says, with this, and use the line that it is just too risky to go ahead with summer. Remember that. That's in inverted commas. The line in the media and government is it's just too risky to go ahead with summer. So if this document hadn't been leaked, I mean, it's no good me keep telling you extended, because a lot of people don't listen to you until it happens. And then they say, right, well, I've got it right every single time, and I'm telling you next 3 weeks they're going to do it again. Oh, no, they won't. They'll have to open. No, they won't. They will do now. They're going to have to backtrack on this. Like I said, they can only deny it so long, for another 2 weeks, and then they're going to have to backtrack, and they're going to have to open the country. Otherwise, I'll tell you, like I said, this Britain is a powder keg waiting to go off. We're sick of the fucking Europeans, this Brexit shite, the fucking French and the Germans. We have had enough. People don't realise that. And this is the British Bulldog spirit awakening. And when you start poking the lion, you're going to get bitten. And that's what's happening here. This is going to blow up. They can only deny this for 2 weeks, and then they're going to have to backtrack and say, oh yeah, see it, refool. And then 2 weeks later, a week later, oh, the variants are off again. Wee Jimmy Cranky up in Scotland, Sturgeon, she's at it already, just because she's come under a lot of fire, and, through her screaming about freedom and all this kind of shit. There's a lot of stuff coming out on her. And as soon as she gets under, what do? They punish the public. So suddenly in Scotland, they've had the highest COVID rate since it began. Just out of nowhere, just when she's opening up. Can you see what they're doing? They're opening up, and then they're extending it, saying, oh, it's because we're opening up, and you're all spreading it, you diseased, riddled peasants. That's what they're all on about. So yes, it's very profitable and fruitful for them, but it's a shame for all the people that have lost their businesses and jobs and houses and, well, basically life, isn't it? Now then, they need this cooperation. Now listen to this. It's a weakened model increases of these variants in line, for example, anti-lockdown protests. This would be a great one to push in light of recent events. Anti-lockdown why don't it be good to push? Euro 221 football matches in England and Scotland. Next one, where population swell during the summer months, seaside resorts like Blackpool, Bournemouth, Brighton, Skegness, etc., as well as theme parks, Alton Towers, Thorpe Park, Chessington World of Adventures, etc., as well as the countryside and tourist traps. Did you get that? Countryside and tourist traps. And again, it's no good me telling you about a long held theory that they plan to make a huge swathes of countryside, national parks, things like that. Same in America, as non-human zones. In America, they've already closed huge parts of parks off, which a lot of people don't know about. Same down Yellowstone. And they say, oh yeah, it's for maintenance. But I mean, they've been closed for like years now. It's because they want to reserve it for the rich. We're going to stop. We're going to be kept locked up. And countryside is out of, who do these people think they are? The countryside, the world does not belong to them, but apparently they think it does. And now they're trying to create their own new world to suit them. And they'll all become millionaires and billionaires, while everybody else won't have a pot to piss in. Okay, it carries on, last part of this page. If we can get the message out that because of these variants are going to be multiple and will completely crash the NHS if not correctly dealt with immediately, then the public should be compliant, and the compliance and unquestioning nature of the masses will be crucial to getting us across the finishing line, and thereby we would have played our part in changing of the country. It will then be for others to lock down as part of the Calgary and the WEF Schwab plan, the World Economic Forum. Been telling you that for years. For other reasons, such as the environment and water scarcity 2022-2023, food shortages, same again, 2023 to 2024, and global finance and mass inflation by 2024 to 2025, culminating in a finalisation of the United Nations, the World Health Organization and the World Economic Forum joint global Calgary plan in 2025. Now, what we're getting here, guys, is what I've been trying to tell people for the past year and a half, 2 years. We've actually talked about this stuff before, even before the virus, and now it's all coming out to back up those claims. Interesting, eh? Let me read you another page. Okay, guys, this is page 2 by the same guy, Ferguson, who really should be locked up. It starts, while we know there will be resistance to this, especially that bastard Levi, I'm sorry I made that bit up, they know there's going to be resistance to this, we must ensure that any and all resistance is kept to an absolute minimum, and this applies to all stratas of society, from the ordinary man, woman in the street to MPs and lords. Whilst over 70% support our actions, thanks to modifications from YouGov, we have an hardcore group of vehement so-called pro-freedom people who are determined to scupper us at any opportunity. The launch of the new GB News channel has only added fuel to this fire. Therefore, my plan is for us to apply as much pressure on the social media companies in the United Kingdom to commence the following procedures immediately in order to protect us and what we're doing. I just want to stop there. Can just read a few things out, what we just said. What does it mean by pro-freedom people? Every person on the planet's pro-freedom. Nobody wants locking up. And he says that we are determined to scupper them. Damn right we are. We're not going to scupper you. We're going to destroy you, arseholes. Don't you realise it, yeah? You know, get your crystal ball out, have a look. The writing's on the wall, baby. I've been there, I've seen it. You're all screwed, the lot of you. And this, like I said, June and July are going to be very interesting. And June, what you're seeing is the cracking of the egg. And when you get to July, you're going to see all the yolks spilling out. But to protect themselves as well. That's what I mean, because they know they will not be able to walk down the streets without getting torn limb from limb or strung up and lynched from the nearest damn lamppost. End of story. They don't realise it yet, but they will. They will. And if I sound pissed off, guys, it's because I am. Even though this is confirming everything we've been saying for years, it still gets me bloody mad. It makes my damn blood boil. Who do they think they are? Anyhow, let's carry on. These are bullet points. They're going to block, ban, delete any or all posts and users which go against scientific consensus. Well, that's me buggered then. Next, for websites to restrict, deny access to the above group, including cancellation of any accounts. For anti-lockdown people and the group leaders to have their details forwarded to the police and be arrested for inciting hatred, violence and civil disobedience. And then in brackets, a provision for this already falls under the Coronavirus Act of 2020. If this is sounding a bit Nazi to you, then it should, because that's what it is. The next one, for any parent or guardian who openly states that they or their family will not be vaccinated to have their child, stroke, elderly relative removed permanently from home and or for them to be removed from the property regardless of ownership and deed entitlements. Whoa, stop. Now then, I've told you this is one big... 2008, I've told you the crash. It was manufactured, as we know, by Goldman Sachs. And I said to you back then, it's a dry run. It's a dry run for the big one. And this is the big one, as I said many times. And now here they're saying it. They're going to take property off you if you don't get vaccinated. This is illegal. This guy needs arresting now, this morning. This morning, he needs arresting and he needs investigating, because I'll tell you what, these are very, very dangerous people. Now let me carry on. You know, honestly, I can't believe that. They got, you know, that is, again, it's forced vaccination, whichever way you look at it. It's forced vaccination by the back door. Anyhow, they can go stick the needle where the sun don't shine, because I'm still not having it. End of story. Now then, a copy of these proposals, titled Combating COVID Disinformation 2021, has already been sent to Nick Clegg. Now, Nick Clegg is a Pillock MP, British MP. As you know, he now works for Facebook. And he's a right dickhead, but he works for Facebook. That tells you a lot. As one's been sent to Jack Dorsey, the ZZ top man from Twitter, and Susan Wojcicki, YouTube, and Sundar Pichai is Google Alphabet Group. That is a big group as well, that needs breaking up. Also, I understand the Prime Minister is going to push for stronger action in this regard against the anti-lockdown movement, including deploying the army, and for every street in the United Kingdom to be strictly and rigorously policed during the forthcoming July lockdown. Oh, wait a minute. Let me read them last few lines for you again. Also, I understand that the Prime Minister, old Boris, is going to push for stronger action in this regard against the anti-lockdown movement, including deploying the damn army, and for every street in the United Kingdom to be strictly and rigorously policed during the forthcoming July lockdown. They're going to police... What? What? This is martial law, my friends, and people better start waking up. I just said to you last time, if people don't wake up, and you know this as well as I do, they'll breadcrumb into that trap, and once that steel door shuts down, that's it, you're knackered, you can't get out. That's what we're talking about here, army on the streets. That is martial law. That is absolutely ridiculous. And it doesn't make sense because Britain was the first to lock down, and where others have opened up, we're just going into it permanently. I told you, Boris is a traitor, he's a shill, they all are. This whole damn government is like the Stasi, and it needs arresting. A lot of them need arresting. I've got names here as well. Next one, he says, I've also been updated by Serco, who are to release stay-at-home bracelets. Do you know what stay-at-home bracelets? Listen, he says it himself, which will act like electronic tags and will be made compulsory for every household in the country, with all residents, tenants, etc. being made to have both by law. Okay, right? They're going to ankle criminals. What the hell? I mean, if people can't see that this is Nazi and communism right up to the neck, they need the bloody head testing. It goes on as well, this bracelets will work with the new 5G technology. I've warned about that. And like I said, Donald Trump ripped this 5G technology out, and where Boris is going right ahead with it. This is the Chinese stuff. And I wonder why they're saying it's going to take until 2027 to rip it all out. Well, how much is it in Britain already? And like I said, Donald Trump did it in a matter of weeks, didn't he? He said, get the shit out. But this 5G technology, I'll do another one again. I've talked about this a lot again, but it's one of them things you get from talking about. This is dangerous stuff. Anyway, these bracelets will work with 5G technology. Will notify the CCC, listen to this, Central Command Centre. This is George Orwell, baby. If a person has ventured outside of the confined space, with punishments ranging from £50,000 fine to detainment in custody for an indefinite period. The first batch of bracelets will be introduced in August in London, Birmingham, Nottingham, Cardiff, Belfast, Swansea, Manchester, Newcastle, Glasgow, Edinburgh, Liverpool, Leeds, Sheffield, Norwich, Cambridge, York, Exeter and Carlisle, with second batches being introduced the following month and third in November. So there's 3 lots of these going out in order to reach outlying and hard to reach areas in the United Kingdom. They're talking about rural and, like the Highlands, places like that. The whole of the United Kingdom is scheduled to have these bracelets on and activated no later than 1st of December 2021. There you go, guys. I'm sure you remember me telling you Christmas is cancelled. Look back in the podcast about 4 or 5 podcasts ago. Because we heard, didn't we, that they were cancelling all the venues of pantomime. So there's no intention of opening up. It's bullshit. It's absolutely bullshit. Now, the people won't know. They'll be breadcrumbed again until they wake up and say, when they find out this, if this gets out, there's going to be hell to pay, trust me. If they don't, then we're all knackered, and I'm going to have to be getting out of this country and getting off the grid, because there ain't no million years of doing that to me. And the last part says, by getting people used to complying with us, we can break down any and all resistance to the new changes coming to the United Kingdom. However, we must always appear to be the friends of the people and look as if we have the best interests at heart, so that they do not think counter to what we want them to. We must get the media to push the line that as too many people, more than the R rate, have died, and the message is always stay at home, protect lives and save the NHS. Honestly, this guy's not right in his head, but he's definitely a communist. We can all say that. He goes on, as well as being scientists. They're not scientists. These people are not scientists. They're pseudo-scientists. They're traitors to the country, and they should be jailed for life for what they're trying to do. But he said, the scientists, we also need to keep up our good profile in the media and be as savvy as we possibly can. Yeah, really? Like Chris Whitter getting mugged by 2 teenagers in the park. I wouldn't say he's got savvy, and his bloody mate was crapping himself as well. And the last line, with regards to new or extra variants, I would like to hear your opinions on the following prototypes. Oh dear. Now, it's incredible, isn't it? It's absolutely incredible what they're trying to do. But they've no intentions of opening. I'm going to just have a quick look at the 3rd page, if you don't mind. We might as well get it all out in the opener. Okay, Guy, carry on. You'll like this. Not a lot, but you'll like it. It's headed the capital variant, and this in brackets centred on London. Anti-lockdown protests and football fans attending Euro 2020 matches will be deemed responsible for more aggressive variant, which causes lung, heart and kidney problems. This will mean locking London down, effective from Thursday, 15th of July. And that's when they were supposed to be opening, or was it a week after? I can't keep up with this stuff. They keep moving the goalposts all the time. Next one, you got the Dorset variant, which is centred on Bournemouth. Dorset's down south, and it's a big holiday place. Bournemouth is like Blackpool. Blackpool's in the north. Bournemouth is like right down there. Anyway, it says people travelling to holiday in Bournemouth, which again is going to be booming because there's all these lockdowns, you can't go abroad. And the places you can go were really not, you can't really have an holiday there. Who wants to go to fucking Falklands Island and play with sheep? Jesus Christ. Anyways, they're going to people travelling to holiday in Bournemouth from London brought the capital variant to the area. This has mutated into a new variant, which means that the area must be locked down, effective from Monday, 19th of July. It's like we keep warning. Next one, because see what they mean, they're just blaming it on everything. And there's nothing wrong with the air, guys, I'm telling you, there is nothing wrong with the air. There's hay fever around at this time of the year, and if you notice, going up to August, and that's when they're going to, the winter season flu comes in, and this is what they're playing on, like they said before. They just they're piggybacking on the back of ordinary flu. Now then, you got the border variant, and again, this is centred on the England-Scotland border. So I'm going to have to get up to the Highlands and get my stuff before Jimmy Cranky locks it down again. So people travelling between 2 countries have brought 2 different variants into the 2 countries. And I don't think this guy's right in the head. How can it be a different damn variant? But they've got, because they're giving you double jabs now, talking about mixing the different jabs, aren't they, AstraZeneca and something else, to give you 100% protection. And if you get 100% protection, why do they want to lock people down? I'll tell you, it's a load of bullshit, and there's something wrong with the masses, because it's like, I don't know what's wrong with them at all. They're really, really falling for this bullshit, as you know. Even amongst people we personally know and families. I'm no different. I know people. I'll never get the jab. I'll never get the jab. At next minute, I'm having my second one and third one tomorrow. Well, good on you, but don't push it down us who don't want it. Thank you very much. We've lived, it's a year and a half later. We've lived through the things. We've lived through bloody worse flu outbreaks than this, as I've mentioned before. Anyhow, what they're going to do, people, so that means that I go to Scotland, I pick some stuff up, come back, I'm going to be taking a variant up with me, and then I'm going to be bringing the Scottish variant back as well. It'll be called the Robbie Burns variant, or Nessie variant. Anyways, oh God. And then they say, what'll happen? They'll mutate, you see. He says the mixing and spreading and mutating with other variants. You know, I said this ages ago, over a year ago. They'll just keep coming up with new variants. And as soon as I said that they've got 140 odd countries what they can name these variants after, and then suddenly changed it to the Delta variant to make things easier for themselves. Right? What are these new variants? Are they going to all be called the Delta variant? Is created. Oh no, the Border variant, the Dorset variant. Jesus Christ. Every town's going to have their own variant soon. How nice. Anyways, he said we could also work this in with football fans during the Euro 2020 matches in Scotland. He keeps putting 2020, I think he means 2021, probably because he's snorting too much frigging coke, which has sent him mental in the head. And he said this will mean transport ban between the two nations from Friday 2nd of July. Oh, really? Jesus Christ, I'm never going to get back. Well, I am, because when this gets out, like I said, let's just see the reaction of the British public, because they've all had enough. It goes on. Please also be aware that in order to get more people to be vaccinated, GlaxoSmithKline, the vaccine, is to stop the production of medicines for common colds, flu and hay fever, along with Johnson & Johnson's, Bayer, AG, Sanofi, Merck & Co, etc. It's all the big pharma companies, as of the start of July. No chemist will be able nor allowed to sell them. Let me run that by again. Just because they are jumping on the back of the hay fever and common cold and flu, they're going to make it impossible. They're all the big farmers are going to stop productions of medicines for common colds that usually take. Why? Because I'll tell you. Because if you take that, suddenly you're better. They can't tell you that you've got the COVIDs, can they? And then it'll get round. Hey, you can get Beecham's powder and cough medicine, and that gets rid of the COVIDs. So they're going to stop making it. They're going to stop and make it illegal for chemists to sell them to us. Next, we must count on people's willing obedience, as well as the Prime Minister and his ministers, to be compliant with us. We all know that if this were to unravel and fall apart, that the consequences would be dire. If we can continue to manipulate the majority, this will make things a lot easier and allow us extra breathing space required. Brackets, i.e., you're a true patriot if you obey. Oh, really? I like that bit where he says the consequences will be dire. Yes, it will be dire, Mr. Ferguson, Mr. Boris DeFifel Johnson, and all the rest of you treacherous little bastards out there in suits. We are coming for you. And, as I've said before, some things you won't even see. Now, let me carry on. Also, certain groups such as blacks, Asians and the gay community are being ignorant and problematic with regards to vaccinations. More is necessary to educate these groups into conforming and having both vaccines when instructed to. You like that? Instructed to. Who are a government to tell you what to do? Not a democratic government. That is dictatorship. When you are instructed and told something to do, it's a dictatorship. It is not a democratic government, and all these bastards need removing from the government immediately. And they need to answer in a court of law. Next paragraph. Regarding our immunity from future prosecution. Oh, you're going to like this. So let me start that again, because I've told you about the cowardice. These are the ultimate cowards. They'll always protect themselves. And in law land, they think they are safe. They think they are beyond the law, but they're not, as they are going to find out. Anyway, regarding our immunity from future prosecution, this depends on both the Prime Minister, ourselves retaining a good relationship, and both his and other government ministers complying. He knows, they're talking about Boris here, he knows what leverage we have over him, and therefore, as he is bound and guided by us, first and foremost, we can get our way. They told you they are blackmailing Boris Johnson because he don't say boo to a goose, and he's been compromised a long time ago, and he also needs to resign and get out of the way. But so they're saying here that they have got leverage over him, meaning blackmail. So what he's saying here in a nutshell is that an unelected bunch of frigging scientists who work for little Billy Gates are controlling our government. End of story. I don't care which way you look at it. That is a fact. However, he says, we also have the literal get out of jail free card by stating that we were following the data and doing our best for the people. Yeah, just like Man Hancock did on following the science. Well, none of us have any faith in the science anymore because 1.5 years later it has not worked because it's a load of bullshit, that's why. This has nothing to do with the virus, this is all about communism. This is the new world order happening now, folks, right in front of your very eyes. And he says, so long as that line continues to be put out and believed, such as in the case of issuing midazolam to the elderly, I've never heard of that, some kind of drug, we should be just fine and we will avoid any flack. Want to bet? Well, it's funny that, because that's not how I see the future. But, like I said, they live in la land, these people. They're not right in the head. And I've said many times they can't sue me because they know I'm right. And they'd have to go for a psychic evaluation. I would go. I'd hold my hand up be first there. And guess who'd pass? Me. None of them will. None of them will. Anyway, in closing, therefore, he says, let's keep this up for the next few weeks and ensure that you are seen to be acting only in the best interest of the United Kingdom in fighting against the virus. What virus? Oh, that's the poppycock virus, by the way, guys. That's a new variant. Please print out a copy of this and keep it under lock and key. Do not forget basic security, as what the public don't know will not hurt them. Really? Really? No. What the public don't know will hurt them, you little crazy little bastard. As ever, deny all knowledge of having received this information, even if it means lying to those you know. We don't want our emails to be hacked or compromised. How about that, folks? Like I said, you can't make this stuff up, but this is... I'd like to see people go and start having a go at these conspiracy theorists now as eccentric nutcases, because they're not. Conspiracy theories are actually very serious researchers who dig up information that the governments et al. Do not want people to know. That's why they get labelled as nutcases and, oh, that's a lie. You know what I mean? Crazy. But there he is saying it. Keep it up. Now then, the last page of this is... a list, and I want to just read a few of them on to you, okay, because I want to wrap this up. Just give me a sec. Okay, here it is, guys, and again, all these people, really, the police should be down. This is who it was sent to: Dawn Erie, Channel 5 and Viacom, Catherine Ainley, Ericsson, Mark Alero, EE. Damn, I use that. I think I'm going to have to change that as well. Baron Burnett of Malden, who's the Lord Chief Justice, Tony Buffin, Holland and Barrett, General Sir Mark Carlton Smith, KCBE, Army, Simon Case, Senior Policy Advisor to Her Majesty's Government, Pippa Creer, that's BBC, Jeremy Darroch, Sky Comcast, Dame Melanie Davis, Ofcom, James Davis, VSTE, Bendy Purr, Channel 4, Dame Cressida Dick, Metropolitan Police. Let's not forget Cressida Dick, he wants permission to discriminate now. And what she means by that, she wants to discriminate against white people. So, yeah, you know, if you're going for a job and that, she won't be able to say, well, no, we can't just give you a job because we're white, we're going to discriminate against you. It's mad. Nick Harris, and she's in a copper's uniform. She's like that bloody, what's her name, that bloody assassin out of the old James Bond film, you know, that German bitch who clicked her fingers together with her knives. That's who she reminds me of. And she has the audacity to wear a police uniform when she's screwing us, honestly. Nick Harris, Highways England, Steve Asker, Reuters, Nick Jeffrey, Vodafone, Laura Krunsberg, BBC, again, Julia Middleton, Common Purpose, Jim Mullin, Reach, PLC, Robert Peston, ITV. He's a political hack. He's more like an interrogator, not an interview, and he's a right little twat. Yes, you are, Robert. Come and do me. Come and sue me. Try it. Sir Nicholas Soames, Serco. Marion Spring, BBC. David Sproul of Deloitte. Sir Simon Stevens, National Health Service. And Jim Wolfe, QC, who's the Lord Advocate. Right, what do you make of that, guys? What do you make of that? I'll tell you what I make of it. All these people need to be arrested. They need to be frigging rounded up in a mass arrest. And I'm hoping, you see, this is the thing here. He's said it himself about Boris, that they have some kind of leverage over him. Right, now then, but if Boris was forced to step down, because don't forget there are people trying to take these little monkeys down, then they can just backtrack on that and say no. I mean, you know something, Boris Johnson, he thinks he has a sense of destiny about him. He wants to be like Winston Churchill. He wants to be a hero. And you know something, he's the dead opposite. We didn't get Churchill, we got Hitler. Now, he, like I said before, he might be a good actor. He might be just waiting for him to commit to all this and then turn around and say, no, you're all under arrest. And he could be one of the greatest prime ministers ever. Unfortunately, he doesn't have enough balls to do it. He needs the bigger the balls, not just the balls, the bigger the balls. But again, they have something over him. I've said that ages ago. They have things on Boris. They have things on all of them. So we don't know what he's been up to, but they're saying we will get our way. There you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. And it's Tuesday the 29th, so I told you, when we get into July, that's when you're going to see things, because like I said, it's a month of revelations, and there's going to be more revelations, but they're going to have to deal with all this leak, and they can only deny it until the next lockdown. And like I said to you last time, if Boris tries to extend this last lockdown, after all these promises, he's done for anyway. So with him out of the way, that makes all these people more vulnerable, thank God. And they're going to jail, a lot of these people. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Matt Hancock is already being sentenced, because he did. He's been summoned to court for things. He's lied under oath, so that's perjury. He can go to jail for that. And all the other stuff he's done. He's lied to the Prime Minister, he's lied to the nation, and that guy should be in jail. And I'm just wondering if that's why he's resigned, to go and do his time. So let's see if he pops up anywhere else, or if he goes missing like a lot of these famous people that we're not seeing lately, if you know what I mean. So these Hollywood A-listers and what have you. Okay, my friends, so I'm going to leave it there. That was quite enjoyable. I've got it off my chest now. I'm still pissed off, and I imagine you guys are too. But like I said, don't worry. I told you, I promise you, it's all going to come out in the wash. And these little arseholes are doomed. They are doomed, and we must make an example of them to send a clear message to all future politicians. You try and stop us in the back, and we will hang you by your scrawny, fecking little necks. End of story. Meanwhile, my friends, I will see you on the wind.